Welcome. I'm so glad you joined us. Today we're going to look at graphing a rational function f of x is equal to x to the third minus 2x squared minus 3x over 5x minus 5. So what we are going to do here is to gather all the information from the previous tutorials on rational functions and then put it all together to draw our graph. Now first of all, let's look at the domain. So here we have our rational function with a denominator of 5x minus 5. Remember, the domain of a rational function is all values of the input variable that do not make the denominator 0. So what we're going to do is to look at finding the values of x that would make 5x minus 5 equal to 0 so that we can exclude those values of x from the domain. So here, solving for x, we'll add 5 to both sides. We'll get 5x is equal to 5. And then divide by 5, we get x is equal to 1. So our domain cannot include 1. Writing that in interval notation, we have negative infinity, comma 1 with the parentheses, union, parenthesis 1, comma infinity. Now we want to see if the function simplifies. To see if the function simplifies, we're going to take the function and we are going to factor the numerator and the denominator. In the denominator, we see that we have a common factor of 5. So when we factor out that common factor of 5, we'll have 5 times the quantity x minus 1. Now in the numerator, we can start factoring by noticing that we have a common factor of x. So let's first factor out that common factor of x. That'll leave us with x squared minus 2x minus 3. And then x squared minus 2x minus 3 also factors. It factors as x minus 3, x plus 1. So our function f of x in factored form is x times x minus 3 times x plus 1 all over 5 times x minus 1. Notice we do not have any common factors between the numerator and the denominator, so my function can't be simplified any further, and also that indicates that our function will not have, or graph will not have any holes in the graph. So since there are no common factors that remove, there are no holes in the graph of this function. Now let's look at the vertical asymptotes. Remember, vertical asymptotes are going to be our dashed lines at values of x that make the denominator 0 but not the numerator. So when we focus on the denominator, we see that the denominator will be equal to 0 when x is equal to 1. And we saw that when we were looking at the domain. So that value of x equal 1 makes the denominator 0, but it does not make the numerator 0, so that's a place where we have a vertical asymptote. Now how about the x-intercepts? Well, to find the x-intercepts, we set y equal to 0. And actually, a fraction can only be 0 when its numerator is 0, but its denominator is not. So for our x-intercepts, we can take the numerator and set that equal to 0 and just verify that all the values of x we get here do not make the denominator 0. So we're going to take the numerator in the factored form that we have and then set that equal to 0. Now where vertical asymptotes are vertical dashed lines, our x-intercepts are ordered pairs. So we got the x value so that if we ran them through the function, we would get a 0 out. And again, you would quickly note that none of those make the denominator 0. So we want to write our x-intercepts as ordered pairs. So when x is 0, we would get 0 out for y. When x is 3, we'll get 0 out for y. And when x is negative 1, we would get 0 out for y. Next up, our y-intercept. To find our y-intercept, we're going to put in 0 for all of the x's. So we're going to evaluate f of 0. Well, it's easier somewhat to evaluate at 0 in the original form. So we're going to put in 0 where the x's are in the statement of the question. So it's 0 cubed minus 2 times 0 squared minus 3 times 0 over 5 times 0 minus 5. And that gives me 0 in the numerator divided by negative 5 in the denominator, and I get 0 out. So for my y-intercept, when 0 goes in for x, 0 comes out for y. I have a y-intercept of 0, 0. Now the last piece of information that we want to gather for the kind of structure of the graph is whether I have a horizontal, oblique, which often is called a slant asymptote, or a curvilinear asymptote. And to see that, we're going to compare the lead term of the numerator and the lead term of the denominator. So when we compare those, we see that the power of the numerator, the degree of the numerator, is 3, and the degree of the denominator is 1. So the numerator's degree is larger than the denominator's degree by 2. So I will have a curvilinear asymptote. To find it, we're actually going to do the long division indicated by the function. So remember, we're going to take the numerator and divide it by the denominator. So we have our 5x minus 5, and we're going to divide that into the x cubed minus 2x squared minus 3x, and let's just put a plus 0 here for our last term. Now, to do this long division, we start by taking the first term of what we're dividing into and dividing it by the first term of what we're dividing by. So over to the side, we can just take this x cubed, divide it by the 5x, and simplify that. Now simplifying that, there's a common factor of x, top and bottom, that we'll remove, and we actually get x squared over 5, which can be written as 1/5 x squared. So that is our first term in our quotient. Let me see if I can get that written a little bit better so you can see it up there. So we'll have 1/5 x squared. Now we take that 1/5 x squared and multiply it through the divisor, the entire divisor, 5x minus 5. So when we multiply that through, 1/5 times 5 is 1, x squared times x is x cubed, so I get 1x cubed. And then 1/5 x squared times negative 5, I have 1/5 times negative 5 is 1, and then x squared. So is negative 1, x squared, so minus x squared. We write that under the like term, so I write my x cubed here and minus x squared there, and then subtract. So x cubed minus x cubed, they remove, and then negative 2x squared minus a negative x squared. Well, minus a negative is plus, so that's negative 2x squared plus x squared is a negative x squared. And then bring down the minus 3x. What I'm dividing into is larger degree than what I'm dividing by, and I keep going until what I'm dividing into is a less degree than what I'm dividing by. So we'll do this again. So we're going to take our first term of what we're dividing into and divide it by the first term of what we're dividing by. So we have a negative x squared divided by a 5x. Simplify, that's negative 1/5 x. So we're going to write that in our quotient, negative 1/5 x, and then multiply that negative 1/5 x through the entire divisor of 5x minus 5, and negative 1/5 x times 5x is a negative x squared. And negative 1/5 x times a negative 5 is a plus x. Writing that underneath what we have in our division process. Subtracting, I get negative x squared minus a negative x squared. They remove, and negative 3x minus x is negative 4x. Bring down the plus 0. Still the degree that is matching what I'm dividing by, so we can go one more step with our division. So take the negative 4x, first term of what we're dividing into, divided by the first term of what we're dividing by, and that gives me a negative 4/5. Write that up in our quotient. Multiply negative 4/5 through our 5x minus 5 divisor, and that gives me negative 4x and plus 4. Writing that underneath that stage, negative 4x plus 4, and subtract. Negative 4x minus a negative 4x, they cancel, and 0 minus 4 is a remainder of negative 4. Now my remainder doesn't have a variable in it, and so I won't have a place that my curve will cross the curvilinear asymptote. And y equal the quotient is my curvilinear asymptote. So y equal this quotient is what we have. So our curvilinear asymptote is y is equal to 1/5 x squared minus 1/5 x minus 4/5. So now I've taken each component of the work that we've done here and graphed it on this graph off to the right.